One last battle to hold the line against the night.
The line must be drawn here. This far, no farther.
Hold the line. No one gets through, no matter what.
Sir, what are your orders?
There's only one order, Lieutenant. We hold.
Incoming transmission.
Allied reinforcements have arrived from the west.
HollowNet on Mojo 50 Radio. The Millennial Conservative Resistance begins right here, right now.
Oh, yes indeed, ladies and gentlemen, boys, girls, children, all ages, the new Millennial Conservative Resistance does indeed begin right here, right now with you. You are listening to and hopefully watching the HollowNet on the mighty Mojo 50. Welcome to the show. Today is Saturday, the 19th of May in the year of our Lord 2019, and it's going to be a very interesting show this week. We've got a lot to get through. We're going to talk about everything all the way from Brexit to abortion to the SAT scores to migrants getting transported from one city to the next along the border. Oh, it's been a hell of a week. It's been a hell of a damn week. And I really do hope you've been keeping up with us, all the other shows, the great listeners that are out there, the jackholes and jillholes and HollowNet operatives and all of the defenders and I still haven't remembered the name of everybody else's fan bases. Oh my gosh, I'm such a goof when it comes to that stuff. Anyway, make sure you check out the full schedule. It's on mojo50.com. Again, mojo50.com. You can listen to Doc Thompson's Daily Mojo with Brad Staggs and Brandon Morse. You got the Conservative Cartel with Matt Locke and Ron Phillips, Ron El Jefe. And then you also have, later on in the afternoon, Battle for Freedom with Watson Prunier, Defenders Live with Stephen Airy, Dylan Lyles. Tons of great content, and the HollowNet is just a humble piece of it, a humble addition to this great Mojo 50 family, and we are very proud and honored to be a part of it. We being, like, not the royal we, I mean just me. As this is a one-man show, man. This is a Holloway production. You are, again, listening to and watching the HollowNet on Mojo 50. If you want to follow us, we are on Facebook's at the HollowNet. That's actually facebook.com/HollowNet. Twitter at the HollowNet. You can also now find us on DLive. If you want to, please do seek us out there. We're going to be getting going with some live content soon, but in order for me to upload all the back catalog, because this is not produced as a live show at the moment, I have to get up to 200 followers. So this is a call for assistance going out to all the jackholes and jillholes and HollowNet operatives. Please go onto dlive.tv / HollowNet. That's going to be a link in the description. Check that out. And if you could, set up an account there and join us. Before we jump into the day, I wanted to let you know about something very important coming up. Mojo 50 is actually going to be hitting the road this summer, and our first stop is going to be in July in Wake Forest, North Carolina. We're going to be there to help celebrate the grand opening of Tar River Arms' new retail location. Tar River Arms, a great long-standing sponsor of Mojo 50 and of great shows like the HollowNet. There will be show hosts with live remote broadcasts on hand with prizes and giveaways, so plan to come out and meet the faces behind the voices, shop for your next gun purchase, stay tuned for more details, and if you will be celebrating an event at your business and would like the Mojo 50 crew to be on hand to help out, let us know by contacting info@mojo50.com. Again, that's info@mojo50.com. And we are looking forward to that event with Tar River Arms because while, you know, the big league hosts away, the HollowNet gets to play, so hopefully we'll get a little more time that particular day. You know, I was listening to some of the other great shows that are out there this past weekend. I listened to Louder with Crowder. I've got my Mug Club mug here, and they've run into some serious headway. They actually had to open up a second YouTube channel because the threat existed that their primary would be taken down. So they've got a secondary channel out there, and I really do love it because there's a montage there of all the impersonations of Steven Crowder lampooning Bernie Sanders. And they did such a good job with that. I actually can't think of Bernie Sanders without thinking of their impersonation. So I think as a go forward now on the HollowNet, whenever we talk about Bernie Sanders, you're going to hear, "Son of a bitch!" or another one of my great favorites when he's apparently dancing around a stripper pole in the Soviet Union in the 1980s, singing "Poison in My Veins."
Your poison running through my veins!
Make sure you check that out again. That's on YouTube, Louder with Crowder. So yeah, I'm gonna lovingly steal those clips, and if they send me a cease and desist, that's fine. I'll be happy to do it. But Steven Crowder himself has said on air that he doesn't mind people using just clips in context. So much as you hear the guitar strum for Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, now you're going to hear
Son of a bitch!
for Bernie Sanders. So I hope you enjoy that. And of course, as always, we are armed and extremely ready. We are jacked up and ready to go with our bell. So we're going to jump in, get right to it now. We have to start at the top. And at the top, quick little story here coming to us out of Los Angeles, according to Reuters. Hundreds of detainees from the U.S. Customs and Border Patrol facilities in Texas and elsewhere are being flown to San Diego for processing beginning Friday, the agency said. Border officials are developing plans to fly potentially thousands of migrant families, illegal immigrants, to other places away from the southern U.S. border with Mexico. The agency said number of people apprehended at the border since October was nearly 520,000. In the past week, there was an average of 4,500. This is the highest in a decade. 4,500 arrests in a day. In one day. This is making it difficult to process and release family units within 20 days of their arrival at the detention center, as is required by law, the CBP said in a statement. President Trump earlier this year declared the immigration influx a national emergency, which allowed him to circumvent Congress to redirect more than $6 billion in funding to start the border wall that he campaigned on in the 2016 election. His move has been challenged in courts. I'm sorry, I think President Trump's move is going to be successfully defended in courts when we're talking about 520,000 people coming over the border this year. That's over 500,000. 4,200 in a day. In a day. And, I couldn't be happier that these people are being flown up over Arizona and into San Diego. So, well done, CBP, keeping that problem out of my backyard for once. Arizonans definitely appreciate it. In completely unrelated news, authorities are urging Arizonans to avoid celebratory gunfire into the air because it may strike those aircraft, and that would cause an international incident. Yeah, don't do that. Anyway, so next up on our hit list as we keep on rolling, I debated long and hard with myself. Yeah, of course. Long and hard and with myself as to whether I was going to address the abortion shitstorm that has hit this week. I mean, it has been an absolute cluster. It's everywhere. It's inescapable. It's all over Facebook. I mean, friends that I never get political with because I know we differ on things, they're coming out with these hyperbolic statements about abortion and, just the fake news that's flying around with regards to the laws coming out of Missouri. Missouri just passed their law. So now that makes this week, I believe it was Bama, Georgia, and Missouri have now passed heartbeat abortion laws. And I seem to recall a show I did a while ago called The Death of All Nuance. If you want to check it out, it's on the YouTube, it's on BitChute. It's also archived back on the old Lanterns page. I'm going to start moving that over, by the way, to my own HollowNet reserve here. I've got 100 hours reserved on Spreaker, and I'm going to start moving over my old shows to there so you can catch up on those if you want to. but I called it The Death of All Nuance, and I sang a really, really crappy cover of Death of a Bachelor by Panic at the Disco. And it was The Death of All Nuance. So, yeah, it was like that, but worse, and with music behind it. It sounded terrible. We're seeing the death of nuance, and I warned people on the left about this. I warned you that this shit was going to happen. I warned you that New York and Virginia's extreme leftist abortion on demand laws were going to backfire. What the hell do you think this is? This is the direct counterforce. This is the equal and opposite reaction to the New York and Virginia abortion on demand laws, abortion up to birth. This is the equal and opposite extreme reaction and the death of nuance. And now the cycle is complete. All oxygen, all possible meeting in the middle. And mind you, I've said this before, I'm going to say it again. I am pro-life, pro-life, pro-life. Abortion is murder. I hold no illusions, but I understand political reality, and I understand the fact that this is a fundamental disconnect between the two halves of our country, the liberals, progressives, and the conservatives and libertarians. This is a fundamental disconnect between the two. Okay? And the next person that tells me that this is a separation of church and state issue, I may punt kick them out a window into space, because this has absolutely nothing to do with religious freedom in this country. This is not a church and state issue. I digress. This is, as I said, the equal and opposite reaction to New York and to Virginia. And damn it, I'm not alone. I am not alone when I said that. I go to a story from the Washington Post. God help us, democracy dies in darkness. Kathleen Parker writes, when author Mark Childress penned Crazy in Alabama, he wasn't just whistling Dixie. Quote, I haven't been quoted this much since Roy Moore, Childress recently told me, referring to this week's coverage of Alabama's passage of a law banning abortion in nearly all circumstances. Moore, of course, was a candidate for Senate from Alabama. So is Alabama really crazy? Is Georgia, which recently passed a heartbeat bill banning abortion after a baby's heartbeat has been detected, usually around 6 weeks. Neither law has taken effect, but both will surely be challenged in court. Lest I be chastised for daring to humanize an embryo, yeah, because we wouldn't want to do that, jeez Christ. Let me state for the record, the correct term for heartbeat is a fetal pole cardiac activity. The urge to give my screen the bird was just overwhelming. I just want to let you know that's kind of a habit I have when I read something that just doesn't make sense. I give my screen the finger, but this is going out on Facebook, and I have two Mojo 50 logos behind me, so I don't want to do that. But yeah, implied middle finger right there. Because at 6 weeks, said embryo doesn't have a cardiovascular system and therefore no fully formed beating. What am I listening to, you dumb bit? The question of craziness, meanwhile, depends on one's definition of crazy. Is Alabama crazier than New York, where some protections for babies born alive during an abortion were recently eliminated, making it easier to end their life if desired by the abortion seeker? Is Alabama crazier than Virginia, where Democratic Governor Ralph Northam seemed to support infanticide back in January when commenting on a proposed bill that would relax the state's abortion restrictions? In a radio interview, he said that in some cases where a mother goes into labor, that a late-term fetus has, quote, severe deformities. There may be a fetus that's not viable, and the infant would be resuscitated if that's what the mother and the family desired, and then a discussion would ensue between the physicians and the mother. Trying to clarify the inevitable firestorm, Northam's office later said the discussion would be regarding medical prognosis and treatment, not ending the life of a newborn. Yeah, sure, right. Anyway, the crucial aspect of New York law and Virginia's proposed law, which has been tabled, is they reduce medical oversight of late-term abortions. In both cases, only one doctor would be involved. So, long story, extremely short if you want to read this screed on Washington Post. But even people on the left at this point are saying that the laws we are now seeing at Alabama, Georgia, and now Missouri are the reactionary swing. It is the pendulum cutting back against these astonishingly infanticidal laws coming out of the East Coast. Is it any wonder that Central America is taking this opportunity to strike back now that there's a majority conservative Supreme Court in play, that they would not engineer a challenge to Roe v. Wade? Is it any wonder that when confronted with the abandonment of any reason in the abortion debate, with the abandonment of any moderate stance, and the excoriation of anybody who tries to equivocate or draw any lines of comparison or meet in the middle in any way, shape, or form? And it's happening on the right, too, because you'll notice most of these laws, specifically the law from Missouri I read this afternoon, does not have provision for rape and incest. The vast majority of conservatives you speak to pause when they hear rape and incest in this discussion. Why? Because it's a natural human reaction. You pause for a second and you think about it, and you try to put yourself in the mindset of that family making that decision. Now, in my personal decision, I say put the child up for adoption. I say you cannot punish a child for the sins of the father, no matter how grievous the sin. Yes, up to, including, and encompassing rape. You cannot punish the child for the sins of the father. And I will stand by that every single day. Is it a regrettable scenario? Yes. Is it downright horrifying? Yes. It is a horrifying scenario. That happens about 1% of the time, but it is a horrifying scenario that no woman should be forced to endure. Do I believe in criminalizing seeking an abortion for a woman? No. Do I believe in criminalizing a doctor from performing it? Yes. Because it is in distinct violation of the Hippocratic Oath. Do no harm. You are committing murder. No less than Dr. Kevorkian. Now, here's where I get in trouble with my fellow conservatives. Do I feel it is the place of the federal government to legislate in this regard? No, I do not. All powers not specifically granted under the Constitution or enumerated under the Constitution are reserved to the states and to the people. So write the 10th Amendment. If you want to be a constitutionalist, you have to accept everything that goes with it. But you know what you don't have to accept? You don't have to accept being fat. And, I think that I'm going to have to start working on this too, because my health is not as good as it could be. And I want to talk about something a little bit lighter now before, I just slam my face into my desk. So, summer's almost here. Pools, the beach, lakes, shorts, and outdoors. You still have time to jumpstart your weight loss plan in time to look good in the new bathing suit or summer dress. Here's your answer. You've heard from us about it for a while now. Check out Riduzone. It's America's first weight management supplement of OEA. OEA is the natural metabolite of olive oil that's produced in the human body when you're on the Mediterranean diet. Riduzone is a formulation of OEA to aid healthy weight loss. It's safe and FDA accepted. The body needs 12 liters of olive oil to produce as much OEA as there is in one bottle of Riduzone. So, it supports healthy weight with low-calorie consumption, efficient metabolism of body fat, and it's safe. It's not a stimulant. It's naturally present in the body already. It's vegetarian, gluten-free, and non-GMO, patented, and FDA accepted as a supplement. Don't delay a minute longer. Check it out, www.riduzone.com, and when you order, you'll receive a special 30% off coupon automatically applied to your 3-bottle, 3-month supply. That's riduzone.com, riduzone.com. Yeah, I think I'm actually going to try that out. Really, because I'm getting kind of fat, Little chubs. I got my Whiskey Tango Foxtrot shirt on. Hashtag not a sponsor, but hey, guys, grunt style, call me, all right? I sent you a message. Seriously. I'd like to advertise your stuff. It'd be cool. Little coffee there. It's late. So, let's take a step back. Deep breath. Little woosah. From the abortion madness that has engulfed our nation in a firestorm over the course of this past week. Just a bunch of stupid crap. Really is a bunch of stupid crap. Links are going to be in the description, but like I said, I'm not the only one that's saying it. You got the Washington Post, you got the Washington Examiner as well. Josh Hawley wrote, Alabama abortion ban is a direct response to New York's late abortion law. Of course it is. It absolutely, unquestionably is. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction, and baby, this is it. When you pass insane, pro-abortion policy, you're going to get some backlash. And we can expect more of this in the coming years. So yeah, link will be in the description for that as well. You know, I just don't want to talk about it anymore. I really don't know what else to say except lefties, liberals, progressives. I warned you. I warned you. You didn't listen. And this is what you get, man. You wanted to open the gates. You wanted to let slip the dogs of war on abortion. Well, now we're going to have a showdown. Now it's going to be about Roe vs. Wade. Congratulations. You opened Pandora's box, and it is going to slam down directly on your nads. I have zero doubt. Because you know it will galvanize conservatives and Republicans like no other come 2020? A realistic movement to ban abortion in this country. They can smell it now. You're screwed. So, we're going to take a really quick break. When we come back, when we return from our small little 2-minute break, got a couple of stories I wanted to get into. Got to shoot across the pond. Got to talk about Nigel Farage and his Brexit Party, the Brexiteers. Sounds like a cheap ripoff of the Planeteers. And we have to talk about what's different between United States conservatism, American conservatism, and UK conservatism. They're not the same animal. They're not the same animal. They're not completely right. And I honestly don't believe that the UK Conservative Party and the American conservative movement align any longer. I think we need to be looking more toward UKIP and the Brexit Party to look for ideological allies across the pond. But, yeah. Theresa May seeming to lose another battle with the Labour Party over Brexit. I think it's going down. I think we're going to see an end to her premiership pretty soon here. And then it's anybody's ballgame. And you still have the likes of Sargon of Akkad, a.k.a. Carl Benjamin, Mark Meekham, still in their member of European Parliament races. What a time to be alive, my God. YouTubers running for public office. Alright, folks. That music means we're out of time for this half. Come on back. Take a little break. You're listening to HollowNet on Mojo 50.
The millennial conservative resistance begins right here, right now.
Oh, yes, indeed, ladies and gentlemen, boys, girls, children of all ages, the new millennial conservative resistance does indeed begin right here, right now with you. You are listening to, and hopefully watching, the HollowNet on the mighty Mojo 50. We are halfway through the show. Thank you for sticking around with me. We got a couple of more things we want to touch base on this week, and I think we need to start, let me see here. What should I start with? Should I start with the kind of interesting story, or the insanely aggravating story? Because I've got both. I've got somewhat interesting and extremely aggravating at the same time. And I mean, it's like wrap duct tape around your head and prepare for the implosion aggravating. So let's see here. You know what? I'm going to start with wrapping duct tape around your head. Okay. Now, we'll jump over the pond later. But wrapping duct tape around your head. In news that came out today, the SATs, you know, the test you take to get into college, the one that I just straight skipped because I'm a mook. Yeah. The SATs, get ready for this, are now adding in a brand new scoring metric, which is called your adversity score. Yeah, I wish I was kidding. I really do. Okay, so here's their explanation for this. This is coming from The Atlantic. Natalie Escobar reports, the reasoning behind the SAT's new disadvantage score. Most students' paths to higher education are shaped by numbers, grade point averages, class rankings, and infamously standardized test scores. Editorial note on my point. Yeah, you know, merit. Merit. You know, getting things done, National Honor Society, that kind of stuff. Anyway, now students taking the College Board's SAT will have another number thrown into the mix, a quote, disadvantage level. This fall, 150 colleges will start using this new metric designed to capture students' socioeconomic status and give context to the test scores. According to the Wall Street Journal, the College Board is using a number of environmental factors that influence a student's home and school life, including neighborhood crime rates, housing values and vacancies, the community's average educational attainment, and poverty levels to calculate this disadvantage level, which is scaled from 0 to 100 and is based on census data from each student's neighborhood. Scores above 50 points indicate the student has had to navigate more obstacles than average to get an education or have access to college, while scores below 50 signify students who have enjoyed more advantages, read privileges. Does that sound familiar? A little bit like white privilege? Putting that out there. Signify students who have enjoyed more advantages than most of their peers, while students don't see or know their score. Oh, so you don't even get to know. Admissions officers will be able to see an environmental context dashboard, which breaks down all the factors that go into that score. So they're going to be judging you now on socioeconomic factors that you don't even get to see. So, if you're taking the SAT and someone from a neighboring zip code or a neighboring neighborhood that has a significantly lower average income or higher vacancy levels, because it's a slum, you went to the same high school, you may have hung out together, had the same friends. Like it was in my hometown. My hometown was 4.5 square miles. Still is, it's still there, but you know, I don't live there anymore. And there were about 1,000 students in my graduating class, if memory serves. And we had an area in town called Chrome. Chrome was more of the Section 8 block housing. It was where a lot of the minorities lived in town. I mean, you had minorities sprinkled all throughout, but you had a couple of different areas where it was more concentrated, where you had the black community, where you had the Puerto Rican community, the Dominican community, Hispanic in general there, and you also had a large influx of Asians, Asian Indians, Pakistanis, where they were moving into the town as well. And the big areas for those groups were Chrome, where U.S. Steel used to have a chrome plant back in the day, and that section of town was actually built as worker housing, and then it became Section 8, I think, in the 50s. And the Hill, which was kind of the heights overlooking the town, were also a more minority-driven neighborhood. The town is a grand friggin' total of 4.5 square miles, population 24,000. There is one damn supermarket. I know. I worked in it. I was a cashier, a front-end manager, did a little bakery work. Hell, I did everything but the meat department, I think. I didn't do deli either because I think that was a separate union. And you had to be union, by the way, East Coast. But again, one grocery store. Suffice it to say, we knew each other. I could identify you by what type of cigarette you smoked, because it was my job to get them out of the case. So, people in a small town like mine, that's broken down into neighborhoods and voting districts and different subsections, a person could theoretically have a much different, what would they call it, adversity score or disadvantage score, living within a mile of me. And as a result, that person could get more favorable treatment from college admissions boards. Is that fair? We went to the same high school. Let's say we both got the exact same GPA. I think I pegged about a 3.1. High school wasn't my strong point. Let's say we did exactly the same. That neck in neck and absolutely everything. Just all the way up. But they grew up down in Chrome. And I grew up in Shorecrest. They get in and I don't they? Or, they may get access to a better Pell Grant. Because I'll tell you, people will say there's no judgment in Pell Grants. I walked into the financial aid office at our local county college when I started my educational misadventures. And I sat down and I talked to them. And I'm a weird person. When I'm going to any kind of an official meeting, a meeting in an official capacity, I dress my best. At this point, the only suit I had, the only nice outfit I had, was the one I had worn to my senior high school dinner dance. So the jacket wasn't quite appropriate, so I left that out. But I wore the vest. I wore the nice button-down shirt. I put on a tie. I put on the best pair of slacks I had, the ones that only had a little bit of tearing at the cuffs down at the bottom. Shined up my best, extremely scuffed work shoes, so they were almost black. And I went in there looking my Sunday best. And I walked in, sat down. I noticed my melanin count was significantly lower than the vast majority of the people in the room with me. Which is okay. I grew up in a very mixed area, very melting pot, very salt of the earth, multicultural, you would call it. So it didn't bother me none. But then when I sat down with the advisor, and I don't remember the man's name, I don't remember very much about him, I remember his eyes. Because his eyes looked at me, and his eyes said, "You're lying." I spent 3 hours in that office. I was interviewed 4 or 5 times. And I had the worst time of it ever. I felt like it was an interrogation. Like I was being caught with my hand in the cookie jar. I felt like I was the little boy coming up to the man passing out the soup, Oliver Twist. And, "Please, sir, I'd like some more." And then I turned around and I looked. And a lot of the other people in the room, there were some, grant you, some that did the same thing I did, dressed in their Sunday best. They're, again, every race, creed, and color. I think I was one of 2-3 white kids in there. But I noticed the vast majority looked like they just rolled straight off the street. Which, a lot of us did. I took the bus to get there. I didn't even drive at that point. So I took a bus from my hometown to Perth Amboy, which is straight hood, up to the college. And it still bugs me today, the way I was treated that day. Because yes, I was treated like I didn't have any right to be there. Because I was the wrong pigment, because I dressed too nice. And folks, that's what you're going to see with this. Your socioeconomic status, your socioeconomic disadvantage is now going to be one of the boxes they check, and you don't even get to see it. You don't get to know what your socioeconomic adversity score is, or what the score of the people in your group are. So if your score is a 0, and his score is 100, and you are otherwise equal in every way, he's going to get it. It doesn't matter what color he is. At least that's what they're telling us. But then you look at the statistics and you realize that just by the way things are, talk about redlining in the 1950s that caused white flight and inner city war zones. We can go on about that all day. That's going to be the consequence, isn't it? I'm son of a single mom. My parents divorced when I was 11. I still had to claim my father and all that documentation. My mother worked for HUD FHA. The people in the projects that she was working with made more than she did, but she was disqualified from applying for HUD benefits because she worked for them. How screwed up is that? Not that we wanted to take any handouts. No, we worked and scraped. Got out of Jersey and here to Arizona, and here we sit. But it angers me that in the face of efforts to expunge and remove the sin of our forefathers through affirmative action, we're now taking this additional step. Now saying that if you succeed, you must be punished. This is the college equivalent of the anti-dog-eat-dog rule from Atlas Shrugged, where you can't compete evenly. No, they have to lift up the person who's disadvantaged and strike down the person whose family has worked for generations to get themselves into a better stead. Will my children be punished for all the work that I've done? For the fact that I went from, a zip code in New Jersey that starts with a 07 and now live in an 85 in Arizona with a much higher median income? Are my children going to be penalized for that compared to their first and second cousins back east? Sure as hell looks like it. That went on a little bit longer than I planned. Okay. Got to tell you about my buddies over at Spoonie. Be sure to go over and check out our Spoonie channel. Spoonie is the sister station. It's kind of the foodie station here with Mojo 50. Check them out. They're all about food and fun, having fun with food and vice versa. If you can eat it or you can have fun with it, they'll be talking about it. Spoonie is a one-of-a-kind 24/7 food talk radio channel. If you like food and you want to learn more about your favorite recipes or even learn more about cooking, fitness, culture, and nutrition, then Spoonie Radio is your station. Tune in to Chef Patrick's Food Biz Pro show along with the long lineup and experienced show host who will entertain and inform about all things food. We have The Rich Solution is on there. We have Chef Trey who's also on there. A lot of great shows on Spoonie. Big shout out to Chef Patrick. Let me sit shotgun with him when I was down there for MojoCon. Had a blast with that. So check out our sister station if you like all things food. Again, that's Spoonie Radio, www.spoonie.com. All right, now, I've gone and railed on about, the SAT adversity score for long enough. I got a little bit of time left, and you know what? I said we were going to jump on over the pond, so here we go. Hit it. Jumping over the pond. All right, jumping over the pond now, we have to take a look at Brexit. At the Brexits. Okay. According to the New Yorker, Nigel Farage makes Trumpian trouble with his new Brexit Party by Amy Sorkin. We have been betrayed, Nigel Farage, the gaudy Brexiteer, told Andrew Marr of the BBC in an interview on Sunday. Not just by the Conservatives, Labour have done the same thing too. Farage is the frontman for a new outfit, the Brexit Party, which will have its first big chance to make noise in the elections for MEPs, members of the European Parliament, to be held in the UK on May 23rd. So far, the Brexit Party is leading in the polls by a wide margin. This week in a YouGov survey, it garnered 34%, more than the combined total of the next two parties, Labour, the Liberal Democrats. The Green Party came fourth with 11%, leaving Prime Minister Theresa May's governing Conservative Party in fifth place with just 10%, a humiliating position that underscores her government's inability to get Parliament to approve the Brexit withdrawal agreement she negotiated with the EU. The failure is more than general. No other traditional party has stepped into the breach. Remainers who prefer to call off Brexit are fractured. There are no leaders, or none, apparently able to outdraw a fairly obvious charlatan, according to the New Yorker. Ooh. Farage, who was a longtime MEP, a position that allowed him to lounge in various EU installations, telling his colleagues how much he despises them. It's mutual by all accounts. And yes, he does. He is salty. The salt is fantastic there. He has been the leader of the UK Independence Party, UKIP, and in the 2016 referendum on Brexit, he went on the campaign trail with a truck-sized poster showing a crowd of migrants captioned "Breaking Point." Marr asked if he stood by the poster. After some hemming, Farage said, "It was the truth, and if you think about that poster, it's transformed European politics." Now, Farage left UKIP in December after its new leader, Gerard Batten, moved in, and it moved even farther to the right, more crassly anti-immigrant, anti-Islamist direction. This is starting to get a little slanted, so I think I'm going to break from the article here at the New Yorker. But I think that the Brexit Party that Farage has launched has clearly gotten a better start than anybody would have imagined. I think UKIP is actually doing much greater things than anybody envisaged, with people like Paul Joseph Watson getting involved, with people like Carl Benjamin, Sargon of Akkad, and Mark Meekum, Count Dankula getting involved. I think European politics in general, and specifically UK politics right now, are at a breaking point. Theresa May is going to be forced to step down very soon because of this recent failure. Today they announced that she and her Conservatives walked away from the table with the Labourites. So there's no deal forthcoming at all. It is all coming down, man. Now, previously, Theresa May had assured voters that she would step down. In June, I believe it was. Pull that up real fast. No, I must have lost that story. Sorry, but yes. Oh, here we go. Washington Post. As Brexit talks collapse, setting up Theresa May's likely departure. Yeah, Brexit talks between the two main political parties collapsed in a heap of finger-pointing on Friday, with opposition Labour leader Jeremy Corbyn saying the weakness and instability of Theresa May's government has damaged negotiations. No, what damaged negotiations was that the EU have been bargaining in bad faith from day one. They deliberately wanted this to hurt as bad as possible. They made no bones about it. And when you're negotiating in bad faith, they were never going to make a deal. It was never going to happen. May promised to offer a date soon for her departure. Conservative Party lawmakers are openly demanding a timetable for her to resign. Not a day goes by without the political class guessing when May will leave office. Will it be next month, July or October? It is a tragic comedy, as they write in the Washington Post. May said this week she will seek an unprecedented fourth vote on her withdrawal treaty. You read that number right. In early June, the first 3 attempts ended in failure. Now, I don't know if that's actually going to happen because I've been paying attention to this. And the Speaker of Parliament, I can't remember his name. No. Speaker of Parliament. Let's see if I can Google it fast enough here because my computer's been running slow. Yes, Speaker John Bercow, he actually already stated in several rulings and judgments, because the Speaker of the Commons actually gets to decide what votes are held, and he has already stated that unless a deal is materially different from one that was previously presented to Parliament, he will not permit a vote to occur. So Theresa May pushing for a fourth vote on the same deal, that could be dead in the water. That's the next step I would advise you to watch out for. Is Sergeant Bercow, known for his cries of "Order!" and etc. so on. I think he's going to kill this. And I think at that point the Conservative Party will have no choice but to call the 1922 committee and form a no-confidence vote for Theresa May. And then we could be looking at Boris Johnson for Prime Minister, or God forbid, Jeremy Corbyn calling a general election and seizing the premiership. In which case, quite simply put, Britain is So, with all that happening across the pond, you have to ask yourself, how are you voting with your dollars? The desperate left is creating chaos that we won't be able to reverse if we don't stop it now. Extreme far-left politicians have become unhinged. Media bias is at an all-time high. Anti-Semitism is running rampant. You don't have to shop at liberal cell phone companies that fund liberal agendas to take away your freedom. You can support your values with veteran-led Patriot Mobile, America's only conservative cell phone company providing reliable nationwide coverage. It's easy to switch. Keep your same phone number, bring your own device, or buy a new one. Enjoy no hidden fees, no roaming fees, and no liberal agenda. At Patriot Mobile, more than $2 million has been used to support your constitutional rights. Imagine what you could do with what we can do with you on our side when you switch to Patriot Mobile. With unlimited talk and text plans starting as low as $25 a month, don't wait. Visit patriotmobile.com/mojo50. Join us to stop the left and switch to Patriot Mobile today. We need you now more than ever. Visit patriotmobile.com/mojo50. Again, unlimited talk and text plans, $25 a month. Do it now. So we have just a couple minutes left, so I wanted to kind of give you, not to wax all Tommy Lauren on you, but to give you some of my final thoughts on this week. The death of nuance is here. As I expected, following the New York and Virginia debacles over their just antagonistic laws passed on abortion that were designed to antagonize the right, the equal and opposite reaction has come so far with Missouri, Bama, and Georgia initiating fetal heartbeat abortion laws. 6-week ban, 8-week ban. And Missouri's, they're bragging, is pretty much challenge-proof because it actually has an advancing scale of, different time periods it can fall back to as each one gets challenged. They're calling it litigation-proof. So it is a near total abortion ban, but it's flexible as to how many weeks it starts. I believe it starts at 8 weeks and it can advance to 11 weeks and then 24 weeks depending on how it's challenged in court. The Alabama and Georgia solutions I don't have as much information on, but I know the blowback from Georgia at least has been extreme to the point that Hollywood filmmakers are now urging their compatriots not to film in Georgia. Georgia, which has a thriving film industry, widely known for The Walking Dead being shot there. We're going to see this get worse before it gets better. We're going to see more and more states, more and more red states, passing anti-abortion laws. It was in the Arizona Republic today. Will Arizona join other conservative states in passing more aggressive pro-life legislation? Honestly, I hope Arizona does. But I can see the backlash forming, and I can see the battle lines being drawn for 2020. This will be challenged in court. This will lead to a Roe v. Wade challenge. And if Roe v. Wade is overturned, that will be a huge galvanization of the left to get a liberal progressive president in to pack the Supreme Court to reinstate Roe v. Wade, or to ram through a constitutional amendment enshrining abortion in our Constitution, making it an instrument of death. These are the stakes that we're looking at in 2020. Now, I am for nuanced political discussion, but they're trying to take that away from us. Don't let them. Don't let this debate divide you from your friends and from your family, because while you are still friends and family, you still have the opportunity to influence their views. It may be impossible for you to change their mind, but it may be possible for you to move them closer. I have family who I love very much who are staunchly pro-choice, believe that the government has no right to legislate what goes on in a woman's womb. I am pro-life, and that is my belief in my heart. That is where I am. That's where my wife is. We are a pro-life family. But I stop short of federal level intervention without appropriate due process. If somebody wants to put forth a definition of when life begins on a congressional level, I would support that. But it has to be done correctly. It has to be done honestly. It has to be done constitutionally. The best way for it to happen is at the state level. So we must take great care in how we manage this and how we approach it. And we must not let the death of nuance and the absence of any moderation on this subject tear us apart as a nation. Alright, that music means it's time to close this HollowNet. So good night. God bless you. God bless the United States of America. From Phoenix, Arizona. End transmission.